What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel, to the show, wherever you're tuning in from. If it's YouTube, if it's on the podcast, I don't care. Welcome. If you are on the YouTube channel, you might notice that I am in a new environment. I have set up a new studio in my guest bedroom, and I'm pretty happy with it. I'll have to say, like, there's some boxes and stuff around, but it's coming along nicely. And hopefully you can see me crystal clear. I got a beautiful Sony a6600 for Christmas, and it's magnificent. It is. It really is. So, I want to talk about ADHD today because I'll tell you, before I hit record on this, I was procrastinating so hard. I don't even know if it's procrastinating. I was doing a million other things. I have this tendency of living my life and running my business with 100 different tabs open, not just in my browser, but in my mind. I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but basically I was sending emails, I was looking at DMs, I was staring out the window, then I had like a random idea to like go get an apple. I was thinking about needing to talk to a client, needing to do all of these things. Like, I had a million tabs open. And this has been like my experience with ADHD. So, track with me if you are a ultra creative, kind of restless, super driven female, but you also feel like doing regular tasks, like doing the dishes, feels overwhelming, or looking at your email list or emails and you're like, oh my gosh, I have left some people on read. I can't tell you how long because it just feels so overwhelming to click open. This has been my life for the last few years since I became an entrepreneur, and even before then. And so I didn't get diagnosed with ADHD until my mid to late 20s. And I want to talk about this because I think so many of you will be able to relate, especially as a woman. The symptoms that I experienced are very different, I think, than your traditional hyperactive male with ADHD. It presented very differently, so it went undiagnosed for a really long time. My parents would have never, and I mean never, considered me ADHD. I was never taken to a doctor. I was never tested because I did really well in school. I was restless, don't get me wrong, but I was curious, and my parents were both educators. They were both teachers. So they thought, oh, Tori's just super curious and independent. And so good for her, like, go for it. But what I'm realizing now is that my curiosity was actually like an indicator of my ADHD. So like when I watch a TV show, for instance, what goes off in my head is like, oh, who's that person? Wait, are they related to this person? Is that the same guy? Is the other guy I saw, like they look very similar. Are they the same? I literally was on Instagram yesterday. This is my ADD brain going, and I like have another idea. I literally was on Instagram yesterday, and I saw this girl who I've been following for years, Jasmine Star. If you know who Jasmine Star is, I've followed her for years. And then I saw this other girl, and her name's Bianca something. And I was like, wait. I picked up I clicked on her picture, and I thought this was Jasmine Star. For years, I thought they were the same person. They're not. They're not. So all of this stuff gets like scrambled in my brain. And I have always, in my mind, thought I was smart, capable, highly emotionally intelligent. I was always getting along with people older than me. I could participate in intellectual conversations. But then things like matching people's faces, or remembering their name, or just getting day-to-day tasks done feels completely overwhelming to me. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Right? What's wrong with me? Well, come to find out, I don't have a normal brain, okay? I have a neurodiverse brain, instead of a neurotypical brain. So I want to just talk about this, and especially how it presents in women. So you're not alone. If this is you, or if you're experiencing symptoms like this, anxiety is a huge one, because in females, we often get misdiagnosed. And I'm just going to pull up a article here to help me stay on track, because I will go all over the place, because this is really, really important. And what the research is showing is that actually ADHD has a really intense toll on women. And the tools for diagnosing this in women are really falling short, because we women deserve a better understanding of how this affects us. Because until recently, I was actually doing some research for a social media brand partnership that I was doing. And I looked for some reason at my Adderall, and I was looking at the side effects. And all of a sudden, I started to see side effects that I'm currently experiencing. And I was like, wait. So my low sex drive right now is also linked to Adderall use. But is it hormones? But is it stress? But could it all be all these things? And that's why for women, it's so challenging to actually get to the root core of what's going on, because we have hormones that are constantly fluctuating. And this can be very confusing for people like you and I, who are trying to actually manage symptoms at a root, like not just address symptoms, but like heal at a root level. And that's what I'm committed to doing in 2021. Or actually, we just moved into 2022. Scratch that. No more 2021. Okay. 2022, I'm all about actually getting down to healing my physical body. And that includes my brain. I have put this off for a while. Okay. My nutrition has sucked for a while. Actually, for forever. I have been on and off again with workout routines. I've gotten a lot better in 2021. I'm excited to bring that into 2022, because I found a community and a gym that really is like encouraging me and make me feel super good. And I've gotten into a great routine, and I've built a habit around that. But my nutrition, my metabolic health, my hormone levels, these are all things I really want to work on this year. And so what I have done is decided to go and actually work with a functional functional medicine doctor, and do integrated nutrition, integrated healing. And what that looks like for me right now is doing a full women's panel of blood work to really see where my cortisol levels at, where my hormone levels at. I have been on a journey for the past several years, since my mom and my sister passed away, of starting to get annual, or if not more common, blood work done, simply because I have an increased risk of cancer in my family, just to see what's going on under the hood. Every time I used to go get blood work, they would say, okay, I'll call you and we'll let you know if anything's abnormal. And I never hear back, which is a great thing. However, I don't know what they're testing for. I don't know actually what's going on in my body. So this year I was like, I've got to actually work with someone who can tell me, where's my baseline? And do I have certain elevated areas? My mom had thyroid issues. I want to know what's happening in my body so that I can take the best care of it possible. And that also includes symptoms like anxiety, depression, mood stabilization, taking care of and tracking my menstrual cycle. I have had an IUD for years now, and I don't even have a menstrual cycle. So how can I actually know what's going on with my body if my body's not actually functioning the way it's designed to? So this year, and I'm just going to take you guys along for the ride and let you know throughout the year how it's going, I'm really going to start to do like a process of elimination to see what's really going on and how can I best take care of myself and heal at the deepest level, at the root core level. So I went over to a new physician's office. I'm excited to try them out here in Atlanta. I've got my first appointment next week where they're actually going to take do the blood panel, and we're going to see what's going on and see like how can we start to really address some of these things when it comes to my nutrition, when it comes to my hormones, when it comes to my metabolic health. So when it comes to ADHD, as you can tell, I can be a little all over the place. I have so many ideas. I have so many things I say I want to do, I plan to do, and so many of my clients are the same way. They're like, I have all of these things I want to do, especially as we go into a new year. They struggle with execution. I have too in the past. I have learned how to use this as a superpower and know what are the things I actually need to prioritize and how can I build a team or a support structure around me that can help me with the execution and the follow through. Because as people with ADHD, I have so many amazing ideas. I'm like, let's do this. Let's run retreats. Let's have a podcast. Let's be on social media. Let's train people. I have amazing ideas. I really have to have support around executing and making these come fully to fruition. Otherwise, we're just dreaming, right? And I need help sometimes with the follow through. So this year, I've made some non-negotiables with myself. I've set the appointments, and sometimes that's the first step is setting the appointment. For me, it's not about, going to get diagnosed with anything. It's really about helping to educate me with my body, getting to know my body on an even deeper level. Because what I do know, and I do believe as I have gone through training for breath work, somatic healing, is that our body really is a healer. It really is so deeply wise and it knows what we need. But when we have put all these stimulants and we've numbed out with all these other, maybe whether it's medication or other things in our lives, we get off of our natural rhythm and our natural body's natural cadence, whether it's sleep or whether we're really stagnant and we haven't been moving our body, things start to break down. So I am going to put my money where my mouth is this year and do this on an even deeper level for me personally. And I'm excited to share that journey with you guys. And I hope that it provides insight for not just me, but those of you who might be struggling with some of the same things, recognizing that you're not crazy, you're not alone, but especially for women, it can be a challenge to really understand what's going on. And we need to be educated about it. So I want to pull this article back up and talk about the mainstream research on ADHD and the differences in how the disorder presents for men and women. Okay. So the data is suggesting that the sexes experience the same types of symptoms, the same number of symptoms, the same severity of symptoms. But just like in my case, this is not what real life experiences are showing from people who actually have the disorder. We experience it very differently than what the technical data is saying. It's saying we're both experiencing ADHD the same. Not in my book, not in my life. So women with ADHD face many of the same symptoms as males, but we also have a lot more challenges when it comes to gender roles, restrictive gender roles, fluctuating hormones. Yes, ma'am. And we have a greater tendency to self-doubt, to self-harm, and to actually talk ourselves out of our symptoms. Be like, oh, well, it's not really that bad, or other people must be experiencing this. And this is really, really important for those of you listening who might dismiss your symptoms and chalk it up to something it's not, when there might be something underlying there that actually can explain why you feel the way you do or why you're experiencing certain things. For me in my life, the way this presented was like my partner, my friend saying, hey, Tori, are you listening to me? You're acting like you're not listening. It's so challenging personally for me to listen to somebody who's talking very slow or is really taking their sweet time to get to the point. It's not that I'm insensitive or I'm not empathic. I very much am. But my brain is like, okay, can we speed this up? Because it's moving so quickly. It's ready to get to the next thing. It's ready to get to the punchline. It wants to know the end of the joke or whatever the information is, the point of what they're saying. And so it can come off insensitive or like, I don't care. I do deeply care. I do. And so a lot of times I have felt misunderstood in my life, and that's caused a lot of pain for me and for the people in my life. And then just day to day, I can feel like I'm a dog chasing its tail. Like I've got so much going on, and I struggle sometimes with overwhelm. And up until this past year, I didn't really have anything to help me with this. But I've got something that I'm very excited to share with you guys later in this episode that's really changed the game for me. So stick around for that. Okay. So a couple other things I want to share here. Why do women have a negative sense of self? Specifically, if you have ADHD. And I'm going to answer this question. Okay. Women with ADHD blame themselves for being too distracted. And we blame ourselves for needing to catch up with our day-to-day responsibilities. It's our fault that we let things fall through the cracks. I can't tell you how many times I've felt this way. I'm like, okay, I have really been pushing it. I've been trying so hard, and I still forgot this one thing. Or I still let this thing fall through. Or I still was late to this appointment, right? It feels overwhelming, and we kind of label ourselves with this need to be perfect, and we don't feel like we can ever measure up. And so there's always something that's kind of looming over our heads where we feel like we let people down, we've disappointed somebody, we let ourselves down, and we're holding ourselves to a standard that's actually not attainable. And what I didn't realize is that other people aren't always doing that either. I thought everybody was doing that. But the truth is, not everybody thinks that way. In the same way as watching a show, some people can actually sit there and just be present and wait for the story to unfold, whereas my brain is already trying to predict what's going to happen, who's going to come in, what's the twist, how do you think that person's going to react? And that can be hard to deal with. You know, the truth is, I am not always easy to be around or to live with per se, but there's so many amazing, magical, powerful qualities of somebody with ADHD. And so many of the people who are super ultra performers, super successful, have it. So it's not like a life sentence where you have to struggle every single day. It's really about learning how to manage your symptoms and create a lifestyle that's really supportive. So in the next part of the episode, I'm going to bring on one of my favorite support systems that I found in 2021 and really share with you kind of a 5-step approach that I've adopted to help me lessen the overwhelm and the anxiety of the day-to-day tasks that I have to do. One practical thing that I've done before we get into that is just be so intentional about knowing what is my zone of genius, what do I do so well, which is innovate, create, come up with amazing creative ideas. And then I've built a team, and I'm continuing to build a team to help me actually execute and follow through on those things. And I can't tell you how amazing that feels. And it is a process, you guys. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're early in your journey, you're a solopreneur, you don't have a team yet, I understand. I have been there, and it's one step at a time. When you are constantly overwhelmed with all of the things to do, not just in your business, but in your personal life, maybe you're a mom, maybe you have kids or other responsibilities we all do going on, you can just feel like, how am I going to get it all done? And the truth is, there is no rush. There really is no rush. Let yourself off the hook. Let yourself have a moment to recognize that what are we all in a hurry to do and to get to? Okay. If we fumble along the way, which we will, these present us with such learning opportunities around what are our superpowers? What do we do so freaking well? And how can I intentionally build in habits, strategies, support, team members to help me in my day-to-day life, because it takes a village, people. It really, really does. And I'll be honest, I didn't realize until the past few years how important things like nutrition, sleep, working out and moving my body, not just working on the mindset, shifting my perspective, those all play a massive role in our mental health. Okay. And that is part of the approach that I'm going to talk to you about in this next part of the episode. So, hey, if you're struggling, you're not alone. I've been there, and we're going to get you some tools. So let's jump in to the second part of this episode. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Coachable Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to dive into ADHD and anxiety and how we can naturally support ourselves if we have these diagnoses, or even if you don't, but you're struggling with anxiety or ADHD type symptoms. What do we do? Do we have to get onto a prescription medication? Do I have to go get a doctor, get a diagnosis in order to treat my symptoms? I have good news for you, which is that you don't. And as somebody who has struggled with ADHD and wasn't diagnosed till late 20s, I have stumbled across one of my favorite all-time hacks. And I'm very excited to be interviewing Maryam from Brillia. Brillia is an incredible company that I've had the joy of partnering with in 2021, and they are a non-prescription solution to ADHD and anxiety. And Maryam, I'm so excited to have you so you can tell us more about all of the amazing things that you guys are doing. I know you've been with Brillia since the inception 5 years ago. This is really a revolutionary approach to the symptoms of anxiety, hyperactivity, irritability, lack of focus, attention. I don't know anybody who's like, I don't struggle with one of those. So having you on to talk about this is going to be so important and relevant to, I imagine, my entire audience. So thank you for spending time and coming on and talking about this.
Oh, thank you so much. Hello, everybody. We've been super excited to finally get this opportunity to speak to your audience directly as well. And I'm super proud of this product. I've been involved with it since our company started researching it. It actually is something that is available in Europe for about 10 years. And the manufacturer took a very unique approach to these symptoms, whereas a lot of medications that are out there now are either stimulants or, other forms that introduce like synthetic chemicals into your system to, help control these symptoms, which generally affect like your entire systems of appetite, mood, personality, etc. Brillia is extremely targeted. So if I get a little nerdy, and we have a lot of information on our website that kind of breaks down all of this for people to understand. The approach is from antibodies. So basically, there's this very specific protein that studies have shown is an imbalance for people who suffer from these symptoms. And again, you don't need to have an official diagnosis, but if you feel the symptoms of anxiety, irritability, mood issues, etc., then what this active ingredient does, it actually helps just regulate the activity of that protein. So without changing anything in your system, without changing the levels of that protein, it basically just helps to control its activity so it doesn't instigate these symptoms. And because it's extremely targeted, it doesn't affect appetite, it doesn't affect sleep, it doesn't have any contraindications with other medications you're taking. And because it's so gentle, we've been categorized as non-prescription. And so we definitely do recommend to consider Brillia as an option if you're thinking that you have these symptoms and that you really need a little bit of extra support, to take baby steps on the more gentle options first and see if they help you. And we found so many people, children, teens, and adults too, who are finding that Brillia can really give them the support that they need without having to worry about all those side effects.
Yeah, and when I came to you guys initially, I told you I had been on a stimulant for years, and I had just naturally upped my dosage over time because my body had just become, conditioned to it to some degree. And I noticed, wasn't on any other medication, and this was one thing that I was intentionally wanting to start to wean off of, but I didn't really have any other support structures in place that I was feeling were significantly helping me to do this until I met you guys and started to learn about this homeopathic approach and a natural approach to healing ultimately, which is what I'm all about. Can you talk about how Brillia is different? You mentioned a couple things with regulating this in the body and in the brain, but y'all have a holistic approach. And
Yes.
this is something that's very, very exciting for me as a practitioner, as a coach, and something I talk about a lot on this show. And I'd love to hear kind of you explain why that's important to the overall Brillia method.
Yeah, so something we're very transparent and clear about is that there is no cure, there's no magic pill. Brillia doesn't pretend to be any of those things. And whatever you do, if it's part of a holistic lifestyle change, it will help make the results that much better. So what we actually recommend, and we have hundreds of blogs on our website, is to first have the first step be making healthier lifestyle choices, which means making improvements with nutrition. A lot of people are not aware that there's a lot of ingredients in foods that can exacerbate these symptoms. And again, this applies to everyone, not just people who have official diagnoses, but everyone who's feeling these symptoms. Your nutrition makes a huge impact on them. So we have articles about nutrition and how to improve nutrition, what foods can help, what foods can hurt. We have articles on how to help improve sleep, which is another huge contributor to these symptoms. We have articles on how to start practicing mindfulness and relaxation techniques. We even have stuff for children, because people would think, well, there's no way I can get my child to, sit still and practice mindfulness. But there's little games and such that you can do, little breathing exercises that you can do that can all be really helpful. And then we also have screen time. That's another big contributor. There's actually some studies that show that people who have really high amounts of screen time can start mimicking or exhibiting symptoms of ADHD, even if they're not officially ADHD diagnosable, people. So that's another really important factor. And then the fifth one, is Brillia, and actually learning where these symptoms come from and what makes them get worse or get better, and really having a better understanding of all of it so that then you can make a holistic approach to helping you, control these symptoms. And, our goal is not for you to stay on Brillia forever. Thankfully, you don't build a tolerance to it. So it's not something that, like most other medications, you have to keep increasing the dose. Because of the way that it works, you don't build a tolerance. And the goal is that as you learn all these other pillars and make these healthier lifestyle choices to be able to improve your symptoms, then hopefully you will be able to avoid taking any other kind of medications and just rely on those to really help you make the most of, of the benefits too. Because I know a lot of people who have ADHD, for example, they can hyper focus, they're creative. So there's a lot to, thrive with this diagnosis. But then, there's other things that you just need to be able to learn how to manage so that you can make the most of that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, the way it shows up so often is I am innovative. I'm so creative. I'm so curious. My brain naturally is asking questions all of the time. Like if I sit down just to even enjoy a movie, I'm asking like, who is that person? Where did they come from? Who are they related to? Wait, is something going to happen? And I'm almost like interjecting all of my thoughts on there. And someone, it's hard. It can be hard to live with someone like me who's like, just sit back, enjoy, and just be present and watch the movie. And that's one of the superpowers of the disorder for me, is that I am so curious, but it can be hard to do just day-to-day tasks that need to get done. And that can feel super overwhelming. And that's what I love Brillia for, because it's really helped me since I started taking it, I think 4 or 5 months now, that since I've been on it, that it's really helped me with the anxiety piece, that overwhelm of seeing, emails starting to fill up my inbox over the holidays. Typically I would have been just in such an avoidant place because it was overwhelming, those types of tasks. And Brillia's really helped me with that. And I think that's just the difference between kind of a neurotypical brain and a neurodiverse brain. Those are some of the things that we can feel internally. And a lot of women, I think we're more susceptible just thinking like something's wrong with me, or why can't I do it all, or how did I let this thing fall through the cracks? So this has been a really integral part in my journey over the last few months, in really learning how to manage it in a way that's helps me to feel like I'm actually progressing in my life, getting the things I need to get done, accomplished, so that I don't get to a place where I just beat myself up all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And your story is so common. There's so many women who never get diagnosed as children because the symptoms or the way that this comes through in girls is a little bit different. And so it doesn't sometimes get picked up on or, noticed. And so there's a lot of women that we're finding of, who reach out to us and say, oh my God, I think I have this. I've never been diagnosed. And so the beauty of Brillia is that because it's so gentle, you can actually try it and see if it can help you before thinking, oh, I have to go get an official diagnosis before I can try it. The other thing I wanted to clarify is too that at Brillia, we're definitely not anti-prescription medication. There are many who can't find the support that they need with Brillia because it's so gentle. However, there are a lot of side effects that some of these prescription medications have, such as anxiety, that, are really hard for people to manage, and they love the other support that these medications are giving them. So another way that Brillia has been great for our community and people who are using it is as a supplement to the medications that they're taking. Mm-hmm. So because it doesn't have contraindications and because anxiety is one of the main symptoms that it really can help control, people are adding it to their regimen so that they can get the benefits of Brillia to control the anxiety and get better benefits from the prescription meds that they're on, not having to suffer the anxiety symptoms anymore or the anxiety side effects from those medicines.
Yeah, exactly. Because as somebody who's been on, prescription medication, there are definitely side effects to being on it, whether it's mood stabilization when I'm coming off of the medication every single day, or just an irritability that I feel at the end of the day. And those, Brillia has been able to stabilize some of that for me. So what I'm hearing you say and what I have known is that there are tons of benefits for trying it, especially the fact that it's so gentle. I feel like it really lowers the barrier to entry for people who want to try it. And there's no real downside to giving it a try, especially if you're looking for that support, because it's not going to have any counter effects with anything else that you might be on. And again, I just want to highlight too what you said, that this is not just for adults, but it's also available for youth and for children, because many of the people that listen to this show are parents, and they might be noticing in their kids, especially with everything that's been going on in the world, kids being at home for school, kids going back to school, all of the different changes that have been happening in our external environment are stressful enough, not to mention having a child or multiple kids at home and that are showing signs of ADHD.
Yeah, so definitely. And, Brillia is not something that, is only for people who think that they have these diagnoses. If you are experiencing like a loss or just a period of time where you're feeling like you're having more anxiety or more of these symptoms, it can definitely be taken for that period of time to help you push through that period as you work through the issues that are causing these symptoms. And there's no coming off of Brillia. So once you stop using it, all of the active ingredient does exit the system. That's again part of the benefit, is that because it's so gentle, it does not leave any kind of footprint in your system. It doesn't alter your blood chemistry. And when you do stop using it, it does all exit the system. So if someone is going through a difficult time because of all the craziness we've been going through in the world in the last few years, or if they've had, these are just like stories that I've heard from our team of people who've reached out saying that they had a loss in their family, or they've gone through a really terrible time. They had, fires that burned down their homes. And so they are going through a very difficult period. Brillia can definitely help in that short term as well. Or for people who, have these symptoms ongoing and are continuing to work to overcome them and get past them or live with them, they can use it continually. So, and for children, yes, we have, a product that's a more gentle formulation that has the same ingredients. And all of our medications are in small, easy dissolve tablets that are very child friendly. They don't taste bad. They don't have any sugars or colors or added flavors. So they're super easy to take. And so we do have a lot of children who, and I love that. I still makes me tear up when I hear stories from parents who tell us about how they were able to get their children off of stimulants, blood pressure medication that they were on to help them sleep. Children weren't eating, they weren't growing, they weren't thriving, they weren't happy, they weren't playful because of the prescription meds they were on. And we have so many who've been able to switch over to taking Brillia and, be able to thrive and grow and eat and enjoy being a kid. And so I love that.
Yeah, I know. That's the world we want to get back to. And I can imagine people listening who are like, okay, this might be the thing that could really, really support me, might be wondering, how long will it take for me to start to see the effects? Can you speak to that for those who are considering trying it?
Yes. So there's a few caveats to getting the benefits of Brillia. One is that it's not like a time release or a medicine like, Adderall, for example, that people take on the days when they have exams or when they have really stressful times. It's something that you have to add to your regimen on daily. So there's 3 doses a day. Because it's not time release, it's that steady trickle into your system that really helps. And so based on how well you pick the dose that you are supposed to be taking, that your body needs in order for it to show the results you're looking for, and if you commit to taking the 3 daily doses, usually in the first 2 to 3 weeks, people start to notice improvement. Some people can take a little bit longer. I know that our team speaks with, some customers who are like, oh my God, it's been a month, it's been 2 months. But some people, notice it in the 3rd month because it just takes that long for their body to start to respond to it. So because of that, we highly recommend that people commit to the 3-month bundles. That way you get the biggest discounts, you get free shipping, you get sent all the product that you need for the 3-month period. And we encourage people to stay in touch with our customer service team during that period. If they're noticing results, if they wish that the results would be better, our team is amazing as far as like getting back to you, really paying attention to each individual case, helping people explore trying different doses. So many times I know, they have the okay to go ahead and send additional boxes to our customers if they want to try a higher dose and they may not have enough supply on hand, so that you don't continually have to keep buying product, to really find the best dose for you. And then during that 3-month period, you can really decide, is this a good option for me? Is it not? Am I able to keep consistent with the doses? Knowing that we offer 100% money back guarantee for people who are trying to, try Brillia, because again, we're very transparent. It's not a magic pill. It offers different levels of result for different people based on all of these factors. And so we just want people to feel at ease knowing that they're not going to lose the money that they spent if they want to try something like this, just to really encourage people to give it a chance. And then we have an amazing discount code for you. So all of your customers or your followers can get 15% off of their 3-month bundles. And again, that's obviously covered by the money back guarantee as well. So to really give it a fair try, we definitely recommend if they can commit to the 3 months.
Yeah, you guys, and I don't think this discount is available anywhere else. So only
No.
if you use the discount Tori15, you'll get 15% off your 3-month bundle with the money back guarantee. I can honestly say using Brillia gives me this, it's like a comfort blanket for me. It's like this extra bit of support that I know when at the beginning of my day, like I'm doing everything I can to support, like set myself up for success. And that makes me feel really good and confident, especially going into a new year. There's so many people who have New Year's resolutions to start to manage these different side effects of whether it's prescription medication that they're on or just symptoms of ADHD or anxiety or of irritability, all of these things. They're like, okay, this is going to be the year. I don't let this thing control me, that I take my power back. And I think Brillia's approach to this is exactly what people are looking for if they're that type of person. And what I love is, again, this holistic approach. You guys, I actually wrote a blog post not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, that you can actually refer back to. We'll put it in the show notes. So if you want to go look further into the details of the 5-pillar approach, which includes Brillia, sleep, reducing your screen time, mindfulness, and and nutrition, those for a lot of us are the New Year's resolutions right there. You know, I want to get my nutrition intact. I want to get more sleep. You know, I really am encouraging the people in my community as well as just myself. This is the year where I'm not just going to talk about it or think about it. I'm actually going to do something about it. And that's what's really going to move us forward and out of kind of being stuck, trapped, slave to whether it's a prescription or a symptom that we've been struggling with for years. There are other alternatives, natural alternatives. And Brillia is one of those that I can wholeheartedly stand behind and say, this is part of my day-to-day regimen that makes me feel super confident about how I'm taking care of myself.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to add too, a lot of people reach out to us and like, well, we really want to, think about coming off of our prescription meds. Do we have to stop taking them before we start taking Brillia? And we definitely do not recommend that. It's not necessary because Brillia doesn't have contraindications. And because it takes a few weeks for Brillia to build up in your system, what we recommend is for you to start taking Brillia at the dose that you think you'll need for at least 3 to 4 weeks. And then always under the care of the physician who prescribed your medication to you, talk to them about trying to wean yourself off based on whatever they recommend. And that way you can make sure that you have the support in your system from Brillia already so that when you come off, hopefully, of your prescription meds, you will have those benefits and the support that you need. So you will not be, completely off all your meds,
Right.
having to deal with all the symptoms and then trying to build up with a new product.
Yeah, that's certainly not what we're saying. Don't go cold turkey. Please do not stop taking any of your medication. That is not what we're advising. You want to do this under the care of a physician. And this is just another supportive, pillar of your healthy lifestyle so that you can be your best self. And that's what we're all about here. And mind, body, and soul. This year for me personally, Maryam, is all about my physical health. It's about getting my hormones in balance. It's about taking control of my metabolic health. It's about getting some of these, mood or anxiety symptoms really managed in a powerful way. Because I've done a lot of work on myself in different areas, but I've always kind of put the physical step, I was like, I'll get to that later. Well, now, I'm 30 years old. It's time to really attack it this year. So I'm with you. I'm going to be fully committing to this work and being the most healthy, optimizing my health in the best way. And Brillia is definitely going to be part of that. So
That's
I'm just
wonderful.
so grateful for y'all's support, for giving us in the market an alternative because we need it. And I just want to open it up to if there's anything else you want to share with our listeners, please feel free to share. And again, we will make sure to put all of Brillia's information in the show notes, how you can follow them on social media, how you can find their blog, which has so many really informational blogs around all different types of topics that you can go and get the knowledge that you need. But what else do you want people to know, Maryam, before we wrap it up today?
Yeah, thank you for all of that. And I second that. I think a lot of us are in the same shoes as you, and we definitely want to make 2022 hopefully the best year ever, especially after the couple of years we've had. And I just want to put out there, I understand that there's a lot of options to choose from. There's so many products out there. There's so many that make, claims that hopefully they can stand behind. But, I vow to all of our customers, and this is what we've been committed to as a team from the get-go, is transparency, honesty, clarity, to really be able to help people understand about how this product works, why it works. And if you have any questions that you can't find the answers to on our website, we have an amazing team who are answering emails, answering phone calls all the time. So please don't be shy to reach out and ask questions. And we really, really hope that, you learn something and that will help you in this journey for making 2022 the best year yet, on our website, at least, with the other blogs or with the other recommendations. Even if you make a commitment to one of those pillars to do a little something about them every day and share about it with your friends and family, it'll really, really help. So I just want to put that out there. And I thank you for your time and for giving us this platform to be able to share about our product. And here's to an amazing 2022.
Yeah, it's absolutely my pleasure. And you guys, the truth is, every little bit counts. Every, commitment is a renewable resource. Even if you made a commitment to yourself to make this, year a year that you tackle some of these things, and you already feel like you've fallen off the horse, and that you already, maybe, haven't stuck to the things that you said you were going to do. At any moment, you don't have to wait till next January 1st to make that a commitment again. You can just decide and say, hey, I'm going to try something new, do something I've never done before, and see how it works. And I can honestly say getting that support will make you feel so much better that I'm not just talking about doing it, I'm doing something about it. And I can't stress enough, their customer service is incredible. They really are there to answer any questions that you have. So we will make sure that we make it super easy for you guys to get that discount code Tori15 at checkout to get 15% off your 3-month bundle. And we want to hear how this works for you. I would love for you, if you listen to this show, you try Brillia, send us an email, screenshot it, tell us what your experience is like. We want to know. I want to be able to celebrate with you any successes that you have in any of these pillars, whether it comes to your sleep, your nutrition, how you're managing some of these symptoms, the fact that you might do less screen time this year. Just don't let it be that you miss the Coachable podcast. Okay. Let that be the time you get your screen time in. But thank you so much, Maryam, for being here. We appreciate
My
it.
pleasure.
And we're super excited to be connected with you. Until next time, you guys, you know what to do. Tell a friend, share this with somebody that you love who might be experiencing symptoms like this and are looking for an alternative approach to healing and managing it. This is for them. You can really be a hero to somebody if you just click share, and share it with the people that are in your life that you care about. It can make a huge difference. Make 2020 the best year yet. I look forward to next time on the Coachable podcast.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.